Greetings everyone, we are the Group 6. So today, we will present to you all about chemical and nervous control in organisms, or an overview of nervous and endocrine systems. So before we start, do you know how animals and plants control their actions? Well, animals use the nervous system to send quick signals like moving your hand away from something hot. They also have the endocrine system, which uses hormones like adrenaline to control slower but longer-lasting changes. Plants don't have nerves, but they use hormones to grow, bloom, and respond to their environment. So let's start!
Morning po, Ma'am Nunesa. This is Group 6's presentation on chemical and nervous control in organisms, which is an overview of the nervous and endocrine systems. First of all, we have the nervous system, which the nervous system is essential for coordinating and regulating various body functions. It enables organisms to respond quickly to external and internal stimuli. The nervous system is divided into two major systems, the central nervous system, or in short, CNS, and the peripheral nervous system, or PNS. The CNS, which consists of the brain and spinal cord, is responsible for processing information and coordinating responses. And the PNS includes all the nerves outside the CNS, transmitting signals between the CNS and the rest of the body. So, we'll be tackling the central nervous system first. The central nervous system, or the CNS, consists of brain and spinal cord, and it serves as the main control center for the body. It processes sensory information such as sight, sounds, and touches, and orchestrates motor function such as movement and reflexes. For example, when you touch something hot, your brain processes this stimulus and your spinal cord sends a quick reflex to pull your hand away. The brain is the center of thought, memory, emotion, and decision making, controlling everything from breathing to complex problem solving. Next of all, we have the peripheral nervous system. The PNS, or peripheral nervous system, is responsible for transmitting signals between the CNS and other parts of the body, including muscles and organs. It is composed of sensory neurons, which send information from the body to the CNS, and motor neurons, which transmits commands from the CNS to muscles. There are two divisions of PNS. First, we have the somatic nervous system, which controls voluntary movement like walking or speaking, and the autonomic nervous system, which regulates involuntary functions like heartbeats and digestions.
Somatic nervous system. The somatic nervous system, or SNS, carries sensory information to the CNS and transmits motor commands from the CNS to muscles. It allows for voluntary movement and conscious control over skeletal muscles. Example: when you decide to pick up an object, your brain sends a signal to the somatic system to your arm muscles, allowing them to contract and lift the object. The autonomic nervous system, or ANS, controls involuntary bodily functions, such as heartbeat, blood pressure, and digestion. This system operates automatically without conscious thought to maintain homeostasis in the body. The ANS is divided into two branches, parasympathetic system and sympathetic system. Parasympathetic system controls functions that occur during rest and relaxation. Example: slowing the heart rate. Sympathetic system. Sympathetic system prepares the body for action, especially during stress or emergency situations. Parasympathetic system. The parasympathetic system is often referred to as the rest and digest system because it conserves energy and slows down bodily processes. Key functions: reduces heart rate and blood pressure, stimulates digestion and energy storage. Example: after eating a large meal, the parasympathetic system slows your heart rate and increases digestive processes to help your body break down the food.
Sympathetic system. The sympathetic system is responsible for preparing the body for fight or flight responses when faced with perceived threats or stressors. Key functions: increases heart rate and blood flow to the muscles, releases adrenaline and other stress hormones to boost energy. Example: When you're frightened by a loud noise, your sympathetic system triggers a fast heartbeat, quickened breath, and increased alertness, preparing for you to respond to the threat. Interaction with the endocrine system. The sympathetic nervous system triggers the release of hormones from the endocrine system to prepare the body for action. The hypothalamus in the brain detects stress and sends signals to the pituitary gland, which then releases hormones to activate other glands like the adrenal glands. Example, during stress, the pituitary gland sends signals to the adrenal glands to release adrenaline and cortisol, which help increase alertness and energy. Endocrine system. The endocrine system regulates various body functions by releasing hormones into the bloodstream. These hormones control growth, metabolism, reproduction, and response to stress. The endocrine system works closely with the nervous system, especially during times of stress or emergencies, to coordinate responses throughout the body. Example, the release of insulin from pancreas help regulate blood sugar levels, ensuring proper energy use by cells.
Did you know that plants has a nervous system too? Yes, plants has a nervous system like us human being. Even plants has no brain, but remember that plants allows them to respond to environmental stimuli through the form of nervous system. This is by using the chemical signals that is coordinated by responses plants make similar to that of the animals using their hormones. Example, plants that folds its leaves to protect itself from plant eaters or herbivores. Second example, the chemicals such as amino acid that activates receptors that trigger another chemical, namely calcium, based to help signal pathway that will respond to its environment. Now class, that we know about plants as a form of nervous system, I hope that you will make a research of examples of nervous system in plants. What is plant hormones and respond to stimuli? Plant hormones are vital in responding to environmental changes just like animals. Its hormones includes auxin, cytokinins, and ethylene. The said hormones help plants adapt to light, gravity, and touch. Some example of plant hormones and response to stimuli are plants exhibit phototropism, where they grow towards light guided by the hormone auxin, and how plants respond effectively to stimuli through hormonal signals and movement.
To summarize everything, our body and plants have amazing ways to react to the world. Animals use their nervous system for quick actions, like moving your hand from danger, and their endocrine system for slower, hormone-driven changes. Plants don't have nerves, but they use chemicals and hormones to grow, defend themselves, and adapt to their environment, just like magic in nature. And to make things clearer, we encourage you to watch this video. It will help you understand our presentation much better.
You know, sometimes we forget how different the cells in the body can be. We kind of imagine them as little circle blobs when, in reality, there is so much body cell diversity. Parietal cells in the stomach as part of the digestive system, they can make stomach acid. Thankfully, cells in other systems do not. Mast cells as part of the immune system, they contain substances like histamine that they can release, which is critical for the inflammatory response. Skeletal muscle cells, which are also called muscle fibers, as part of the muscular system, they're shaped like cylinders with multiple nuclei, and their structure includes thin and thick filaments, which are essential for muscle contraction. We could go on with the specialized cells in the body systems, and the cells themselves structurally sure are different, specialized for their function. And if I had to pick my favorite specialized body cell, it'd be a neuron, a cell that is part of the nervous system, the system that is the topic of this video. But before we talk about neurons or other cells in the nervous system, let's give a little general tour of the nervous system. Then we'll get to the cells of the nervous system and briefly mention the action potential. First, structure-wise, you can divide the nervous system into two very general regions: the central nervous system, CNS, which consists of the brain and spinal cord, and peripheral nervous system, PNS, which consists of all other components of the nervous system, such as nerves throughout the body. The PNS can provide sensory information for the CNS. While the CNS can process that information and act as a command center, the CNS can execute motor responses or regulate body mechanisms. So we said the CNS consisted of the spinal cord and brain. Let's talk a little bit about the amazing human brain, although realize we're being very general here, as we're going to divide it into 3 general regions: the hindbrain, midbrain, and forebrain. Let's look at the hindbrain first. It includes the medulla, pons, and cerebellum. The medulla has many regulation functions, such as the regulation of breathing, blood pressure, and heart rate. The pons is involved with some of these functions as well, and also coordinating signals with this area to the rest of the brain. And the cerebellum? Balance and movement coordination are some functions of the cerebellum. The midbrain, deep in the brain, this area is involved in alertness and the sleep-wake cycle, motor activity, and more. If you've heard the term brainstem, this includes some of the structures we just mentioned, the medulla, pons, and midbrain specifically. Finally, the forebrain. Most notably, this includes the cerebrum, which itself is divided into 2 hemispheres, right and left. So many functions are done by our amazing cerebrum depending on specific location, whether it's our speech, our thinking and reasoning, our sensing, our emotions. Check out the further reading to explore this. The forebrain also technically includes some structures in it, like the thalamus, which is involved with sensory and motor information, and hypothalamus, which, if you remember from our endocrine system video, has major control of the endocrine system. There are a lot of myths about the brain. One quick myth I heard all the time as a kid that I have to put to rest. It's the myth that humans only use 10% of their brain. It's not correct. We have a great reading suggestion on that, as well as some others that circulate around. Now, that was all part of the central nervous system. What about the peripheral nervous system? Function-wise, we can further divide the PNS based on what it does: the somatic nervous system, SNS, and autonomic nervous system, ANS. The SNS is involved with motor functions of skeletal muscle. This will include voluntary actions under conscious control, but also somatic reflexes that involve skeletal muscle. The ANS is all about what's going on in the internal environment in regard to gastrointestinal or excretory or endocrine or smooth or cardiac muscle, and it also includes autonomic reflexes. And the ANS itself can be further divided. I know, there's a lot of dividing, but stay with me. The ANS can be divided into the sympathetic and parasympathetic systems. The sympathetic system, the shorter word of the two, helps you remember it's part of the quick fight or flight response. I know the whole running from a bear is a very popular example. For me, it'd be more relevant if I was face-to-face with my personal nemesis, the copy machine, which I may or may not have had some very bad experiences with before, and the bell that just rang so you know you have 60 seconds to get your copies, but it's making crazy machine noises and giving you vague warnings. This could also activate your fight or flight response, a response that can cause your heart to race and breathing rate to increase and some things to not be as active, like the digestive system, because if you're desperately trying to run from a bear or take on the copy machine, you don't really need to be digesting food at that moment, right? The parasympathetic system, longer word, this is often called rest and digest. Heart rate will decrease, digestion will occur, again, rest and digest. Many times these two systems can therefore have opposite effects on the same organ.
Did you understand anything? If you have questions, don't hesitate to ask us. That's all, and thank you for your time and attention. We hope you learned something new and enjoyed our presentation. Remember, the world of plants and animals is truly fascinating. Keep exploring and stay curious. Again, this is Group 6. Goodbye!